What's up, everybody? King of Fomo here, coming at you with your daily crypto update. Make sure you follow me over there on Telegram. That's t.me/KingofFomo1, as well as my chat, which is going to be linked in the description below. Today, we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin lifestyle in 2021. Is that going to be a commonplace thing? It's going to be a really interesting topic today. And we're also going to be talking about the price prediction of Bitcoin here in 2021. I can see potentially a 6x being realistic, so I'm going to get into why I picked that number. Now, the first thing that we can talk about is we have done it, ladies and gentlemen. We have reached Bitcoin's new all-time high here in December 16th, 2020. Bitcoin is sitting at a price of about $20,236, which is higher than it was back in 2017. Now, I'm in a unique position to be able to compare the previous all-time high. When I first got into Bitcoin, I was only into Bitcoin maybe about 6 or 7 months back then, so I really didn't have a history to go back on to understand what was happening with this thing. But now I do here in 2020. I've seen the growth of Bitcoin, and I can see the difference between the previous all-time high in 2017 and the all-time high right now, which helps me conceptualize a price prediction and trajectory from here a lot better than I could before. So one of the first things that you need to take in mind here is back in 2017, Bitcoin was not very easily accessible to the general public. And on top of that, only the general public was really purchasing Bitcoin, with the exception of a few, billionaires and rich people that were jumping into this thing, and some institutions starting to develop things about Bitcoin. But in reality, the major institutions and corporations were not touching Bitcoin because it was a volatile asset, because people said that it was an asset used for drugs, and it was more controversial than it is now. But now we have lots and lots of major institutions, and I've been talking about this for the past couple of months. You have companies like PayPal jumping into Bitcoin, allowing its users to purchase Bitcoin. You have companies like Cash App doing the same thing, purchasing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. And you have other institutions, lesser known, also in headlines on a nearly weekly basis, scooping up hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin. So we'll get into what that means about the price in a little bit. I mean, the market cap for Bitcoin's only $375 billion. And when you're seeing $100 million purchases on a weekly basis, that's going to change the price of this coin a lot. We'll also look at some things like the trends and how like the trends for Bitcoin in general are really, really good right now. So let me just type in Bitcoin in Google Trends real quick. And like we can see that it's in a different situation than it was back in 2017, because it was at the all-time high back in 2017. And right now, the trends for Bitcoin are not quite at an all-time high. It's actually lower than it was a month ago back in November. So we'll see some things happen with that as well. But getting back into the whole institutions thing, this is a huge deal because of the fact that when Bitcoin was at its all-time high back in 2017, it was not very easily accessible to the general public. Yeah, there was Coinbase, yeah, there was Bitcoin ATMs, but that was about it in terms of the United States for purchasing in on this. You had to be a little bit tech savvy or know somebody who is tech savvy to purchase some Bitcoins. Now, I think that with the Christmas effect and with people talking about Bitcoin over Christmas, as the all-time high is happening, we have Christmas coming up in about 10 days right now. With that being combined together, I think that a lot of people who see, oh, this Bitcoin's doing really good, let me buy a couple of dollars worth of this, will be able to very easily with apps like Cash App, like PayPal, and even with the more user-friendly Coinbase or your other options like Bitcoin ATMs and other places like that as well. So that's the first thing. Regular people have much easier access to be able to purchase Bitcoin through these simplified methods. On top of that, like I said, people in general, just the general public, is not going to move the needle of Bitcoin that much. Sure, you might see 30,000, you might see 25,000, but you're not going to see those huge gains. And what I talked about before, if you've been following the headlines, kind of like I have been on stealth mode, I haven't really been making many videos, but I've been following the headlines. If you've been looking at these companies, these news that's coming up about these companies jumping into Bitcoin, they're not putting all of their entire company's, valuation into Bitcoin, because that's still a risky play. It's still a volatile coin, and companies know that. But with COVID happening and with the whole United States dollar inflation rate just going through the roof this year alone, I think we have 2.4% of an inflation rate this year alone. it makes companies think and look at Bitcoin and say, well, it's kind of silly to not have a little bit of our portfolio into Bitcoin, as the United States dollar is most likely going to be decreasing a little bit more as we go into next year. So a lot of people are thinking about that and thinking about how Bitcoin can kind of save their company in the short term, even if it's not a long-term play. So I think that with all of these factors combined, it's kind of like mixed into this cauldron of of positivity for Bitcoin, and it's all happening kind of at the same time, which is even more interesting. I think that we can see some volatile price movements now that we have broken $20,000. Now, of course, I could be wrong. We could be retracing back down into the the $10,000, $15,000 marks, but I don't think so, because we've been holding upwards of $18,000 to $19,000 for quite a long time now. And retracing that far is just not something that I think is going to happen if we continue to rise with Bitcoin overall. So like I said, with these hundreds of millions of dollars coming in, with these people being able to access Bitcoin at a much more easier rate, I think that, and because companies aren't putting in everything, I don't think that we're going to see Bitcoin hitting $500,000 or anything like that anytime soon. But I do think that a 6x is potentially possible, sitting at a market cap of close to about $2 billion, when we're seeing more and more just general public jump in, and tiny slivers of large institutions hedging some of their funds into Bitcoin. I think a $2 billion market cap is possible. And by putting it there, I think that means that the price of Bitcoin can be sitting at close to about $120,000 sometime by the end of 2021. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. A lot of people have made some crazy predictions in the past, but I do think that that is a realistic possibility. When you're looking at upwards of $500,000, that would take institutions putting in upwards of like half of their funds into Bitcoin, and I think it's still a little bit of a too volatile situation for that. And on top of that, like I said, we're not just looking at Bitcoin. We can also look at things like Ethereum and DeFi, with Ethereum 2.0 launching, a few weeks ago. This is all combined together, making a pretty huge deal for Bitcoin overall. Back in 2017, only a couple of companies really acknowledged Bitcoin. You could only spend it in a couple of places, notably Amazon being one of them, another one, Overstock.com. I remember I purchased a couple of things from there, but that was it. Nowadays, you have a lot more companies, being able to accept Bitcoin, or in a sense accept Bitcoin, if you can use apps like Cash App to buy it and then sell it, and then use Cash App to purchase things over there. And you even have other easier ways of offloading and onloading Bitcoin with applications like the Turnio's block card, and there's a few other cryptocurrency cards that you can use as well to just use Bitcoin in general, use a cryptocurrency in general to purchase things. So that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. The United States dollar compared with Bitcoin is just so much positive information combined together, and it really has been a stealth accumulation, I think, because like I said, we're not at all-time high interest for Bitcoin over time. We're kind of in this middle high point, but I think that over the next couple of weeks we might reach that all-time high point, and that's really healthy. That's really interesting, because people have been ignoring all the news that I've been talking about, or it's been kind of flying through their head, and I think it's gonna hit them all at once, and it fits the case for par, where you don't really hear about it until it's too late. And if you're watching this channel, you're hearing about it pretty much at a really good time. But I think maybe 3-4 weeks from now, maybe even less than that, maybe a little bit more than that, again, a lot of maybes, but when we do hit new crazy all-time highs of like $40,000 for Bitcoin, that's when people are going to look at it, and that's when people are going to be a little bit too late and looking back at these videos now and saying, darn it, I missed that video, I should have watched it, that kind of thing. So we're in an interesting position. Let me know what you guys think. What are your price predictions for Bitcoin in 2021? Do you see us retracing? Do you see us going up? I've been in this game for the past 4 years now, and I have a hard time seeing Bitcoin just dump to $6,000 again. It just doesn't make any logical sense for all the progress that was made in the whole crypto space to just backpedal that hard. So that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Catch you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, join that Telegram group. I'm talking more about passive profit platforms in the Telegram group. I know these things are a little bit more controversial if you don't watch my channel in general. But you can make a lot of money from them if you trust some other trading firms to do the trading for you. However, you do not own the crypto. If you don't own the keys, you don't own the crypto, and it can be lost 100% at any moment. So those are the giant risks that go along with that. But hopefully I'll be posting more videos about that a little bit later. Catch you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.